Hi everyone, in this video I'll be going through chapter 9 applications of straight line graphs. How do we draw a straight line graph using data? So for this, before we go into that, I'll run through the simple steps you must follow first in order to draw straight line graphs from nonlinear equations. So these are the main steps you have to follow. First, given the problem, first form a linear equation in the form of y equals to mx plus c. So if the question gives you any nonlinear equation, apply either your loss or logarithm or any other methods to turn the equation into this linear graph equation. Capital Y equals to mx plus c. All the variables are contained within big Y and big X, and m and c are just constants. Okay, once you have done that, you can next draw the table of values for the new x and y axis that you will have. And this is not just small letter x and small letter y, it is your new y and new x that you have formed by manipulation in step 1. Once you have drawn your table of values, your last step is to plot your graph of your y-axis, but this may not be y, it depends on your equation, big Y against big X. And this will be your new x and y-axis. Please make sure to check your axis very carefully when you are drawing your graph. Okay, so let's look at one simple example. I'll take 2024 AMF O-Level Paper 2 question 10. Okay, so let's look at this question here. This question, it talks about an object falling, and it is you are given this formula here, R, which is resistance, equals to A times velocity power K, whereby A and K are constants. And the question tells you that these are the corresponding values of V and R. Okay, and then you are told to, therefore, from here, explain how a straight line graph can be drawn to obtain this equation here. Okay, so over here, what we first need to do is that in order to draw a straight line graph, we will first take this equation here. This is a non-linear equation. So over here I have, let's draw it out now. I have R equals to AV power K. This is clearly not a straight line graph. Okay, so therefore I need to do something to manipulate this to turn this into a straight line graph. So if I want to draw a straight line graph, one simple way is that because this is non-linear because of this power here, I can apply my loss or logarithm in order to bring down this kind of powers. Okay, so what I can do is that I can apply log on both sides of the equation. I will get log R equals to log A V power K. By loss or logarithm, I can split that apart. This is equal to log A plus log V power K. And by a power law, I can bring the constant K down. This is log A plus K log V. Okay, and V and R this has corresponding values in this table here. Okay, so therefore, if I have to rearrange this equation to get the form of y equals to mx plus c, I can see that over here, since I know that A and K are constants, I will now have this form y equals to mx plus c, whereby your new y-axis is log R, okay, and your new horizontal axis is log V, okay, and your gradient is m, your y-intercept is simply log A itself. So therefore, in order to show a straight line graph, I will need to, over here, I'll need to plot a graph of my new y-axis is log R against, it is always y-axis against x-axis, the new x-axis is log V. Okay, and over here, where gradient is equal to the constant k, and log A is the vertical intercept. Okay, vertical intercept. So this is step 1 of how to solve linear law equation, how to redraw this kind of graph done. Okay, step 2 now, I need to plot my table of values. So now I'm given V and R. So that means I need to find out what is log R and log V and the corresponding values of V and R accordingly. So therefore, I will need to draw a new table of values. I have drawn a table here to save time. So over here, log V and log R are the new values that you need to find. And for each corresponding V and R value, you must find a corresponding log V and log R value. So for each V and R, you need to find the corresponding log V and log R value such that you have all 5 values over here. Okay, once you have done that, your next step now is to now plot these points onto your graph paper. So over here, you check very carefully. Y against X. Log R is your vertical axis. Log V is your horizontal axis, your x-axis. Okay, so over here now, if I were to plot my graph here, I should see that log R is my vertical axis, log V is my horizontal axis. Then from there, you go and plot your points onto the graph. Okay, then from here, I think I missed out this part. This one should be somewhere over 1.176, 2.04. Okay, this part here should be, oops. Okay, so over here, if I were to make sure you have plotted your points very accurately and carefully. Okay, so over here, my graph should be something like, my point should be something like this. Okay, therefore, now your last part is to simply draw a straight line that connects through the points. So over here, if I draw a straight line using a ruler, okay, you should get your graph to look something like this. Okay, and you'll notice that in this graph here, one point doesn't pass through because in the context of this question here says that there is an error made in recording one of values of R, which means that one of the points will not fit through the straight line graph. But if you plot very accurately and nicely, you should see that all the points should pass through very nicely into the line. Okay, so when you plot this graph, make sure your scaling is okay, multiples of 2, 5, or 10. Then label all your markings very clearly. Okay, before you plot your point. Okay, and then once I plotted my graph now, I can now complete the last part, which is to label this straight line. This straight line is given by the equation this straight line is given by the equation log R equals to K log V plus log A. Okay, and once you are done with this, you are done with drawing your straight line graph. Okay, and this will be the basic steps on how do you draw a linear law graph based on a given equation. And that will be the end of this video.